You were born in 1332. The world smells of damp earth and oatmeal. Your first cradle is a grain basket. Your childhood is endless fields. At age 5, you're already scaring crows from the crops that feed your lord. 1340. The Great Famine is still fresh in the elders' memories. You learn to value every crumb of stale bread. You grow strong. By 14, you can lift a sack of grain as heavy as yourself. The steppe and forest are your teachers. You are 16, the dawn of your strength. You fall in love with the miller's daughter. Life feels endless and clear. 1347. Rumors arrive of an eastern sickness that mows people down faster than a reaper cuts wheat. No one believes it. But ships enter the ports. Rats jump ashore first. They carry a death in their fur that cannot be seen. First, the priest falls ill. His neck swells, his face blackens, and prayers turn into groans. Panic grips the village. Your father locks the house. Don't go outside, he says. But death is already inside. Death does not choose. Your mother is the first to go. You see the light fade in the eyes that loved you. You bury her yourself. There's no room in the cemetery. You dig a pit in the garden under the very apple tree where you loved to spend time. The city turns into a crypt. Dead carts creak through the night. Bring out your dead, they cry. Flagellants appear, fanatics who whip themselves, hoping to beg God for mercy. When the village turned into a mass grave, I realized staying here meant waiting for my hour. I took my sick father and went into the forest. He is on your shoulders. He is heavy, like the sins of this world. His cough tears the forest's silence. Purple nodes already swell on his neck. You approach the city. Halt! Shout the guards from the walls. Crossbows are in their hands. Animal terror is in their eyes. To them, you aren't people. You are harbingers of the end. You fall to your knees. And suddenly, he emerges from the shadows, a silhouette you will remember until your last breath. A bird? No. A man. A massive leather beak. Glass eyes where pity does not reflect. The plague doctor, true master of these streets. I will save him, croaks a voice from the mask. But the price will be high. You will give me your life. You agree. Your father is taken to the lazaretto, and you are led to the guild, into cold cellars of stone and wax. Your training begins not with books, but with scents. Vinegar, lavender, garlic, and amber. Your new allies in the war against the invisible enemy. They give you armor, a long leather cloak soaked in fat, so the contagion slides off like water from a duck's feathers. And finally, the beak mask. You stuff it with theriac, a mix of 50 herbs. It is your only filter between life and the stench of death. Your first walk into the city. The streets are empty, save for rats and shadows. The silence is broken only by your staff. With it, you check pulses, fend off the grief-stricken, and count the dead in the gutters. You enter a rich man's house. Here, gold is worthless. Death takes no bribes. You see a family frozen in a final embrace. Your job is not just to heal, but to witness. You record names. The city must know how many souls the Black Lady took today. Sometimes you cauterize wounds with red-hot iron. The patient's screams drown out the bells, but you stay silent. Your beak does not scream. You work for days. Your face under the mask breaks out in rashes from the constant leather. You forget what the sun looks like. One day you find him in a far corner of the infirmary. Your father, he is alive, but his eyes already look into eternity. You try everything you learned. Best herbs, purest vinegar, prayers, and steel. But death is a jealous bride. She does not give back her own. Years pass, the plague recedes, but it always returns. You became a legend. Children frighten each other with your name, not knowing who you are under the mask. Your days turn into a cycle of groans and the smell of burnt flesh. You no longer fear the dead. You fear those who still breathe. You are summoned to the castle. Even behind thick walls, the same sickly smell of rot lingers. Death does not look at coats of arms. They offer chests of gold to save the air. No, you know your herbs are powerless against a terminal bubo. You simply give him opium. The city council orders entire districts to be burned. Fire is the only way to cleanse the streets of the invisible demon. You stand on a hill and watch the flames. In the fire, not just rats perish, but history, libraries, shops, and lives. You begin to secretly collect books. You create a lab in the basement of an abandoned church. No crosses here, only flasks and your journals. You begin to dissect the fallen and keep records. This is forbidden by the church and punishable by death. But how to defeat an enemy if you don't know how it devours us from within? One night, a knock at the door. Not the sick, but the Inquisition. They think your knowledge is witchcraft. You escape through tunnels to the catacombs. Your world is now darkness, bones, and silence. Down there, you find a community of outcasts. Lepers, thieves, orphans. They do not fear you because you are their only god. You treat them for free. You use clean water and soap. It is your main discovery, which seems a miracle to them. Winter passes. Fierce frost kills more than the disease. You see frozen fountains and birds falling mid-flight. You fall ill yourself, not with plague, but a fever from exhaustion. You lie in your mask, afraid to take it off, even in sleep. Spring of 1349, the peak of infection. There isn't enough wood to burn the bodies. They are thrown into the river. You see a black wedding. Two lovers, knowing they will die by morning, marrying on the street among corpses. A prophet appears. He says the plague is punishment for the sins of women. A witch hunt begins. You try to stop them. You see a woman accused of sorcery, but you know she is just an herbalist like you. You save her, leading her to your dungeons. She becomes your assistant, the first living soul to see your face in years. She isn't scared of your scars, but happiness here is only a spark. She gets infected and dies at dawn. You do not cry, you just put on the mask. Your feelings died with her. Only the doctor remains. But the world outside is not only sick, it is blind. Your works are called witchcraft, your mask, the face of the devil. The Inquisition comes at dawn. The knock of their boots on stone sounds like a final sentence. Bird of death, you are accused of desecrating bodies and a pact with darkness. The Inquisitor's voice is cold as a tombstone. You are seized, your lab trashed, destroying the records and potions that held the city's hope. The mask is torn from your face. For the first time in years, cold air touches your skin. You feel naked before the face of wrath. You are thrown into the holy prison. The walls bleed salt, and the rats are fatter than on the streets. The Grand Inquisitor visits you. He wants a confession. He wants you to say, "It is not a disease. It is punishment for sins." But you stay silent. You see a bead of sweat on his forehead. You know it's a sign of infection. A plague begins in the prison. Executioners and guards fall, where they tortured others. Cries for help replace prayers. You are the only one who does not fear. Give me back my mask and bag, or we all die in this pit, you say. They agree. You take your form again. Your beak is ready to inhale the world's poison. You enter the Inquisitor's chambers as both savior and judge. The Inquisitor lies coughing. His faith did not protect him. You lance his sores with the same blade he meant to torture you with. You spend weeks in the prison, turning it into a hospital. You heal those who yesterday prepared your pyre, an ironic dance of life. You use vinegar and fire to cleanse the air. You order floors washed with wine. The Inquisitor survives, but his spirit is broken. He signs a paper giving you the right to heal everywhere. Your science received the church's seal, washed in blood and pus. You exit the prison gates. The city is still in haze, but now You're its unofficial king. Your staff is your scepter. People leave offerings at your door. Bread, wine, candles. They fear you, but they need you more than God. You realize the plague is an opportunity to rebuild the world. You begin to design new hospitals. The plague laid the foundation of the future medical system. But the Black Death does not just leave. It quiets down to gather strength. You see rats dancing in grain warehouses again. It repeats. You recruit assistants. You gather orphans and teach them medicine, giving them masks instead of names. You become the city's shadow government. When your staffs thud, even the guard freezes. You are the plague doctors. 1353 arrives, and the Great Death recedes. You stand on the wall and see nature reclaim its rights. But why did death leave? You realize the enemy didn't vanish. It just found no more victims. Those who survived became stronger. Their blood now knows the secret of war. And cold winters did their part. Frost killed the fleas and rats. The earth decided to cleanse itself with ice. But mainly, it was your decrees. Quarantine. 40 days of silence. You made the world stand still, and the plague suffocated. Half of Europe became a crypt. Fields grew with thistles, but those who remained no longer wanted to be slaves. The feudal world cracked. The church stayed silent while thousands died. Faith was replaced by doubt. People began looking not at the heavens, but at your anatomy books. This became a cause for the church's schism. You saw a world fall and a new one born. But in this new world, there is no place for you. You are a symbol of a nightmare everyone wants to forget. You feel something break inside. Your body, held for years, by will alone begins to fail. You return to your home. It becomes too stifling in the mask. You take it off and realize you're no longer a doctor, just an old man. At night, a heavy rain begins. It washes away the last ash of pyres, the last dust from old stones. The city undergoes a rite of washing. Your pulse slows, 1, 2, silence. The next morning, your student finds you. You look as if you just paused over a new chapter of your diary. Your colleagues gather without words. They know you haven't left. You just became their shadow. They take all records and burn your house so nothing falls into the wrong hands. Your mask becomes a museum exhibit in the far future. People look at it and shudder. Your life was a dance on the edge of the abyss, but you did not fall. You taught death to dance with you. Remember, behind every beak hides a heart, and while it beats, death has no power over us. The plague receded, but not forever. This was the story of the man who became a shield between the living and the void. His name is erased, but his legacy lives in us. Did you like this story? If the fate of the plague doctor touched your heart, leave a like. Which era should we cover next? The choice is yours.